It's time for the Wynonna Earp After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. We are talking Season 3, Episode 2, When You Call My Name. Guess who we're going to talk about? Dolls. We're going to talk a lot about dolls. Stick around.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
AfterBuzz TV. If you haven't already, go to youtube.com, search for AfterBuzz TV's sci-fi, fantasy, and superhero channel. That's where we live because we are sci-fi, fantasy, and superheroes. I'm Yael Tygiel. I'm joined by Kari Lane.
What's up? How's it going?
Hello.
Hi, and I'm also live in the chat. Hello to everybody joining us live. And if you can't join us live, no problem. Please comment down below your thoughts on the episode.
Absolutely. Everyone who's been in the chat for the last 2 hours, thanks.
Yes.
Yep, thank you.
I know. Thank you for waiting.
That's right. We are here every Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Make that note somewhere.
Yeah.
Before we jump into When You Call My Name, what did you think of this episode as a whole?
We had this like exciting and like fun episode 1 of vampires and that in 5. I don't know the word, but and now this one's like, oh, we just went heavy, huh? It's like, oh, major tonal shift, but. That was something that was talked about at Comic-Con during the interviews. There's going to be lots of shifts in tone this season.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like there were parts of it that I liked, parts of it that I didn't like, parts that I was like, I was told to wait for something to happen, and I was waiting and waiting and waiting, and then something happened, and I went, I don't believe it.
Yes. I was told about that too. Episode 2.
Episode 2.
Episode 2.
302? 302.
Yes.
You'll understand what we're talking about in a bit, but before, let's just jump into post-accident.
Yes.
Let's talk about Wynonna's journey. She's off the side of a cliff. She's hallucinating Mama. What did you think about these hallucinations?
It was a great way to bring in that character, and it made sense. Because at first you kind of go, wait, oh, yes, no, that makes sense. And if you are trying not to panic, I totally buy talking to yourself of
Right.
And then make it somebody else, because that's less like, I'm crazy and talking to myself.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it works.
The 3 camping rules. 1, don't panic. 2, assess the situation calmly. This situation is a shit sandwich. That was the description. And 3, take inventory. Those are the 3 camping rules.
Good rules. I like all of those. I'm like, these are very great. They just they didn't have bring a towel.
Bring a towel.
Douglas Adams.
All right. And then,
but that'd be inventory, maybe.
Yeah. I like these rules.
Yeah.
I don't know that they're camping rules. I think they're survival, like in a
well,
crisis rules.
Those are kind of intertwined.
Oh, someone's singing in our ears. How exciting.
Well, camping and survival, I could put intertwined. It depends what kind of camping you're doing. Like if you're doing deep in the woods and not like you parked and right there.
Sure.
And then sure.
You're looking at me like I camp. Let's be honest. In my head.
What? Yes.
Whatever. Camping. Outdoors.
Yes.
Yep. So Wynonna's on this journey with her mother. I really liked seeing her interact with her hallucinatory mother. It made me think about, because we questioned last episode how her mother went from outside to inside. And it made me think, oh, maybe, I'm making up excuses here for them.
Oh.
Maybe when she went last season to see her mom, it was her like gaining the courage to go into the prison. Yeah. And that her mother wasn't outside.
I would buy that.
Thank you. I'm making stuff up here.
No, that totally makes sense too. If now that she saw her this way, though this time was a bit more in peril that she spoke with her.
Right.
But going to go see her and you're rather stressed? Sure. Heather Lamb in the chat points out, love the tough love between Mama Earp and Wynonna. It totally makes sense for Wynonna's character.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. I really enjoyed this whole, you got this from me, you got this from Dad. And there's that great moment, I had to make a note of it, where they both push their hair out of their face.
Someone else in the chat just said that as well.
Well then, we're on the same wavelength.
We're all linked, yes.
It was really great that's how we got to see it and go, yes, they're so similar.
Yeah.
And then we have a discussion about abandoning your daughter to keep her safe.
Big difference, though.
Go on.
Well, if you gave away your baby to be safer with someone else is one thing, but you leave.
They're in danger.
Yeah, but she didn't like give them to and make sure they were in a safe. Well, I guess their aunt, but
I, as someone who doesn't
It's
know
different.
or particularly like children. I'm not really an expert on this.
I would say it's different. I'm adopted, so like the idea of like that she gave the baby to someone to be safe.
Yeah.
With purpose rather than peace out, bye, I'm gone.
I think the peace out was also with. I'm not trying to defend her, or anything, but like I assume that right, both of them are trying to do what's best.
True.
And while I definitely see the difference, right, because one is knowing full well I can't take care of this.
Yeah.
And the other one is halfway through going, yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like she was with her kids for longer,
8.
and then was like,
right? She was 8, 12?
Yeah, she said she was 8.
Sure. I picked a number there.
Yeah.
So we also have our Demon of the Week. That is who dragged Waverly away. This hungry demon.
Not Bobo. Damn, we were all kind of hoping.
We were so like, yes, Bobo
World,
saved
please.
her.
Yes.
Well, because I was also like, what is it that Waverly said, look out? You know what I mean? What was in the road? And then this episode we discovered.
I wondered too, but yeah, the like tarmac of nails.
Spikes,
Yeah.
Because this guy who doesn't like people on his property, but also likes to bring people to his property.
Well, he has to go hunting because there's been no food and the woods have been changing for a while
now. Still, I don't like anyone on my property unless I drag them here by force.
True.
Yeah, he was hungry.
He was dragging by force.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So Waverly's being held captive. Hawk calls. He steals her voice. It definitely was some Little Mermaid stuff.
That was very funny. I like how other people are hopping on that. And then the show they go, is this some Little Mermaid?
Yeah.
It's like, yes.
And
but that's a cool power that the demon has because we haven't seen abilities in a while, I think.
In a while, yeah.
There's been some cool ones. Like, I think it was...
Season 1, we had a bunch of good ones.
I think the Revenant that stood out to me that I remember of just like weird abilities and what they did was the barber.
In the mirror?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking
I was like,
of.
that one was so cool. I mean, other ones are just like, rawr, monster. Like, they don't really
I'm
do
a
anything.
demon.
Yeah. So this was cool of like, I'm going to steal it in a pouch. And he's like the hunter guy.
Yeah.
It's like, I actually thought he was a really interesting character and like the actor a lot of how they portrayed it. Like, it didn't seem like a stupid Revenant. Not that some of the Revenants have been dumb, but like this one was like, oh, you're intriguing. You're so bizarre.
Yeah.
You know?
He reminded me a lot of another, there's another show on this sci-fi channel called Happy.
I have not watched that one, but yes.
I will not spoil much, but there's someone who kidnapped someone, and it felt, the characters felt similar, and they looked similar, and they speak in voices that are not theirs, and so I was like, oh, what if this was some cool, creepy...
Ooh, crossover!
It very much wouldn't be, but it would be really creepy.
Yeah.
I hope anyone who's seen Happy is going, yeah, I see it. Other people are going, what's that? Watch it. It's messed up. Okay, so then Wynonna gets there eventually, and we have the booby trap thing.
That was a good way to explain, because yeah, if you can't tell someone to move, but like literally stop. And then the wire was kind of funny because I kind of wanted her to get to wire quicker.
So she got to wire quick and then just
went the other way and went to booby trap. And
yeah, I thought she was trying to tell her there was a wire.
Wire, yeah.
But I guess in
Both
addition to that, there are other booby traps.
Yes, because we don't see what's in the floor, but he does the hop and she does the hop. So there must be something of it breaks.
I wanted to see more booby traps.
You're like, you set it up and that's all we get.
All we got was the wire.
Yeah.
It would have been so much cooler. So she guides Wynonna through. We have this little moment where she takes the time, because they have it, to ask Wynonna about the prison pass. I was like, girl, you're being held captive. Let's worry about that later.
Yeah.
Right? But later...
It's a semblance of normalcy.
I disagree.
She's like, I need something not this crazy.
I can't
captive.
speak, but I'm going to show you this pass and make you explain it at this moment while a demon could come back and kill us. Okay, sure. But later we find out Wynonna tells her that she's known for years. Waverly says, you've been keeping my mother from me for years. I'm glad that that's out in the open, because I'm a big person against secrets. I think secrets on a show ruin... I think the idea of someone keeping secrets for a long period of time and then dealing with the fallout of a secret is annoying.
Well, Jeremy has a whole thing of like, secrets suck.
Yeah.
No. Well, that's frustrating for us, the viewer, because we know.
Right.
You're just like, come on, just tell each other. I am actually so happy on every show when someone's like, we're all on the same page now. I'm like, yay! Finally, everyone's updated.
It just feels like one of the most annoying tropes, and the CW DC verse does it the most, is someone keeps a secret, they eventually tell people, and then everyone's mad at them for keeping a secret. And it's just a cycle.
The worst one is in movies and shows. It's not just that you kept a secret. It's that you lied about this one thing. That means everything's a lie.
Yep.
Oh, come on. That one's just so dumb. I hate that one.
Yeah. So when Wynonna is eventually fighting our Demon of the Week, she says Bolshar's name. It scares him for some reason. I want more on that.
Well, technically, he was not killed with the gun, so I feel he's not dead.
Oh, well, yes.
So I feel he could come back.
The answers.
Yes, could be. Not that many Revenants come back often, but yes, it felt like he had tangled with him a bit and was like, nope, don't want any part of that. So that was actually, it was really interesting. Like, ooh,
yeah.
Tell me more. What did you do?
He's like, no, he's buried. No.
Guess what? He's back.
You're right, that because he wasn't shot with the gun, he could totally come back and explain himself. I just don't foresee that happening.
Probably not.
But when, after Wynonna gets rid of him or leaves him in a hole, she gets tied up, and Doc and Nicole are there to save the day and cut her down. I think that was so funny when she was just talking and talking.
Yeah,
and Doc
she's
was
like, what's up?
Are you done? Do you want me to cut you down now?
She's like, yes, please.
Before that, we had a little bit of Nicole's, cop survival skills.
I got a little nervous, though, when this random guy came up to her.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, is that our weird dude in the woods? I'm like, no, different, but still weird dude in the woods of...
And his son was missing.
He's the one who died.
Is he the one who died?
Yeah. Rest in peace, poor neck guy.
Give him a name.
He didn't get a name.
I know.
He just said, my son.
Right.
He didn't even say, my son so-and-so.
If you want us to feel, he needs to have a name.
Chat was like, oh, you guys cared about him. Thank you.
I did not.
I felt bad of like, oh, that's a lame way to go. Like, that sucks. Well, anytime a character has to die in any way, shape, or form, you're just like, was it quick? Was it a good death or whatnot? Which we'll get to all of that later, too. But that was just like, oh. It's like Ghost Ship. That one has the wire, too.
Before we move on, let's take a moment to thank everybody for joining us. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Kari, why don't you tell them what they can do for us?
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for watching, listening. Our network produces after shows for pretty much nearly all of your favorite TV shows. We know you love Wynonna Earp, but we also cover lots of other shows here. From dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more, there is no network that works harder to serve television fans. But we need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. So you should be subscribing to this one. And by subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. If you're worried about pesky notifications, don't worry, because they are optional. And so hit that subscribe button now for this channel and check out the other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. And let us know you did so in the comments, and we'll give you a shout out on the air to say thank you. And for now, thanks for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV talk.
Thank you.
Thank you for all of you watching and listening, and thank you for everybody in the chat. I'm trying to keep up, everybody. So we'll give fan shout outs later, but I love that everybody's really into it, and a couple other people point out the Revenant as well, of like the gun was not used. Yeah. So maybe.
A lot of people also said that his name was Son. And I'll accept it.
Okay, guys.
I'll accept it. Okay. Let's talk about Doc for a second.
Yes.
Because Dolls comes in and is like, Doc, you were late to the party. Want to talk about it? And he's not angry about Alice now, which does that mean he
feel
wasn't?
He still is.
Or
no, he still is.
Okay, because
different tone.
For a second, I was like, does that mean that we all thought that he was going through this really like great emotional postpartum thing, and then it turns out he wasn't at all? Because that would have annoyed me.
No, I think he still is, but
he's
like most
both things.
Stages of grief, it's not the same every day.
That's true. So he's angry because the fight is fixed, he says. When Dolls shot Doc, it sent him to hell, and that is his reward. For all of this, for trying to help out, for being good, he still goes to the place with all the Revenants, and he's destined for the dark. And Dolls points out that he doesn't need a threat of damnation to fight for the right side, but it seems that Doc does.
That was a good point. That's one of those, ooh, touche.
This scene... knowing where we end, this scene was like great. I was like, yes, let's have more of these discussions about how Dolls is going to do the right thing and Doc is going to do the right thing because he thinks it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, no, it's one of those, like, even if you think that's the end, that doesn't mean that should change what you're doing right now.
It very much reminds me of, we were talking earlier about Doc and Dolls and who I personally ship them with, and how Doc is he's not a good guy. He's trying to be good. And so he and Wynonna will always try to be good together.
It's kind of, is that unlawful good, essentially?
Girl, I don't know. I don't D&D.
One of those.
But Dolls is a good guy who's always doing the right thing because he's a good guy.
Yes.
And he doesn't need someone that he's going to have to fix. And I think that's why I shipped him so much with Liza from season 2. And why, I think that Doc and Wynonna they're messed up together. And so this conversation...
Then they're not going to try to fix each other.
Right.
Because they both have their issues.
Yes.
Yes.
And so this conversation, I was like, yeah, so deep, so good. And then we end where we end, which we'll get to. Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts on the Doc health thing? Because I know that he brought it up. He's brought it up in this episode.
In Doc's health?
Doc's hell, not health.
Oh, hell.
Hell.
You should be happy he came back.
Interesting. When I spoke to Tim
it,
in San Diego, he also was bringing up this hell thing.
Maybe there will be more about
Melanie also was like, I guess he's upset about this.
Well, Supernatural, Dean has that as well.
Yes. Yeah, he should really go talk to the Winchesters. They can tell him about being in hell.
Right? It's like, you guys can have a little conversation.
Right. Like, we've been there. Calm down. It's not that big of a deal.
Just calm down. I think he's more just tripped up over not having his immortality anymore. Maybe it's not necessarily that he went to hell, but that he could still go now, because now he's not immortal anymore.
Okay. I could see
Which
that.
would also change, like, how he wants to do anything. Because, like, before you're like, nothing's going to hurt me, and you'll do anything and everything. And now it's like, oh, crap, I could die.
Right. Now he's shooting at people going, please don't shoot back.
Yeah.
I like where your head's at.
Yes.
All right. So Jeremy is assessing Dolls in the beginning of this episode. That's right. We're getting to the doll stuff.
Totally out of left field, but interesting comment. BamLover03 says, unpopular opinion, I still don't trust Doc. Interesting. I had moments where I didn't trust Jeremy. This episode, I was like, whoa, where is this coming from?
Really?
Yeah.
Jeremy?
Yes.
My Jeremy? I don't know.
I'm like, I do not trust you right now. What are you doing?
Well, he seems really
He's like holding
concerned.
information back.
Yeah, but as a doctor, Dr. Jeremy.
I'm rolling my eyes for anybody listening.
Yeah.
Yes, but the one of Doc was like, call him and let him know.
And then he didn't.
Yes. And the way he looked, I was like, what's going on?
I took that as concern, right? Jeremy doesn't tell Dolls that Wynonna and Waverly have gone missing when Doc goes off to help. And he doesn't tell. I took it as concern. I took it as he's unstable. We don't know what's going to happen. There's issues with the medication. And there's something wrong. So he shouldn't go out there. I was very confused with the whole Dolls medication thing. I feel like I've been confused, and maybe I don't know if it's because I don't science, but I've been very confused since Rosita was working on something through now. Yes.
Maria Balov in the chat says, I think Jeremy has more than he lets on.
Like knows he knows more?
I think it means knows more. Well, something which, I mean, we're not there yet, but in this moment, it's kind of appropriate. I was kind of wondering, essentially has, because I mentioned Dolls, he had side effects from what they did to him. But I was like, so wait, has he been dying this whole time? And this was just when the time limit expired, essentially. Not is this a new thing? Because then I was like, oh, that's kind of a very different demise.
Yeah.
Like if you literally like, you know, he used up what energy source that was there, and that was started back when.
So
does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, because it could have been that he has been dying. Yeah. And that the medication or whatever has been slowing that. And that now that it's not the right formula. Yeah. Maybe. I also think so if I understand correctly, he had the medication from Black Badge. Now that Black Badge is no more, Rosita had to make the medication. It's not the right stuff. Jeremy's working on it. It's still not right. So that's where we're at. Yes. What's happening in the chat?
Heather Lamb points out, Dolls said about his medication in season 1 that keeps part of him dead, and then was asking the chat if that's correct. Bam Lover 03 says, I think he knew his time was limited. So yeah, I think he kind of knew.
I did not take
maybe
it that
not
way.
like he was gonna die. Well, the way he says bye to Waverly, essentially, I'm like, oh, he
says,
knows.
all right, so let me read this. I got the play-by-play.
Okay.
All right, so he says, Waverly, Wynonna's going to need you more than ever.
Yes.
And at that moment, he had the medication. We did not see him take it.
I think he knew it didn't matter.
Okay. The rope is cut by Soldier Dude. Doc goes after the disappearing demon / Soldier Dude.
Yes.
Dolls shoots at him. And he says, you cannot kill me with your mortal weapons. When he was shooting at him, I was like, if he disappears, Dolls shoots Wynonna. Like, that guy has to stay.
I totally was thinking that too.
Okay. I was like, you're going to shoot her.
Yes,
Jeremy is on the earpiece to Waverly. He says, whatever Black Badge did to Dolls, it made him unstable. Wynonna's holding the rope now that it's been cut. The Soldier Dude says, someone must die here today. Will it be 1 or 2 or maybe 3? Because Waverly's running over to help Wynonna. Dragon Dolls is initiated. Bulshar is applauding, or who we think is Bulshar is applauding.
That's a good point. We don't know that. So.
Right. The man that we are referring to as Bulshar. And then he disappears and Dolls is down. That is the play-by-play.
Good point by, I think it's Charlie Shot says, if he knew his time was limited, why would he pursue Wynonna so much in season 2? Go out with a bang?
So I definitely didn't take it as he knows his time is limited. I took it as the medication is keeping the dragon at bay. And so I don't think he knew that he was going to die. I think he thought that the dragon would take over. And I think that that's what happened, is that he was, to protect them, he released his dragon, and that maybe accidentally killed him.
The vessel couldn't hold it?
Yeah.
I could go with that.
So I just didn't see it as him knowing he was going to die. I just knew that he knew he wasn't going to control it.
His line to Waverly, I felt that was him knowing he was dying.
Really?
That was going to be the end. Douglas in chat says, I think they changed the severity of Doll's problem. At least I always assumed he would eventually lose control, not die. So that's a good point of like, yeah. Millie says, yeah, because one color was to keep the dragon inside, the other was to bring it out. And that's a good point of, we were saying that of letting out. I guess I could go with, yeah, it killed the vessel. Like his body could not handle it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just the way he was like, Waverly, Wynonna's gonna need you. I'm like, oh,
right.
That's it.
He's gonna
Wash my
sacrifice
hands.
himself.
Yeah. Which makes it a noble sacrifice then.
Yes.
You know?
Very much so. And we have a video we're going to show you in just a bit. But before we get to that real quick, Jeremy and his investigation of the cult of Bulshar, what we've discovered is that a super fast demon killed all the victims within seconds, not simultaneously. Do you think it was the Soldier Dude demon? Or do you think it was a different demon that we haven't met yet?
Oh.
Because he does that disappearing thing, so it's not like he's fast, but he disappears.
No, I'd like to think it's another one.
Okay.
But he was there.
He was there.
I'd like to think it's another one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's go with that.
Yeah, we'll just go with that. Other people are saying maybe in the chat, like, the dragon has been released, that he's not, like, maybe his body's dead, but there's
a dragon
something
in town?
Yeah.
Or something. Love it.
Please, that'd be awesome. Renji says, hashtag release the dragon.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All for that.
All right, let's check out this awesome video that we have that many of you may have seen. Hit it.
It was very touching to see the effect, not just on the character, but just kind of as a family as a whole, and to remember that we did start here on 101.
We got into the same car to go to LA to screen test together. So I did feel like
technically
I
in the
was
comics she was
losing a
blonde, so
partner in this journey,
or
so
is
it was sort of the end of a chapter.
one of them or
affected me
something.
more than I thought it would.
It's tough to lose one of the core 4. We all started the show together. We've come so far. Like, it's crazy to think that Dolls is no longer.
It was tough saying goodbye to Shamir. And
Yeah.
it was tough saying goodbye to Dolls.
Maria in the chat says,
because
very
Shamir and I
noble and
started
very
this journey
sad.
Together. Wynonna and Dolls were the first two to really start at the beginning of the season.
I'm really proud of the work that I've done to this point, and I'm very proud of the writing staff and the writing team and how they've closed that chapter on Dolls. This is the last day on set. This is behind the scenes. You probably won't see this until after the episode airs.
That is
But if you
correct.
don't, spoiler alert,
Ah,
because Dolls isn't going to make it. How he dies, though,
What a spoiler.
that's the real question.
Imagine if they released
Yeah.
it
Just so
before.
you know, working out beautifully. Calgary, Alberta. This is the last day. Dolls is checking out. Shoot.
everyone's like
We had prior
sad in the
conversations
chat
that
of
the
watching
character
this
was
was
not
like,
coming
no,
back. It was a mutual
all the
decision
tears
across
are
the fronts, and
back.
We were cohesive on all the decisions, which is for they decided they wanted to give me something that was very heroic. Here we go.
Yeah, it was a heroic.
Right.
Emily did
He
such
could
a
do
beautiful
something.
job in giving him the best possible send-off.
We had to do justice with his death. We really had to set up that there was literally no other way to save everybody else except for Dolls to kind of unleash his dragon breath and
Oh,
basically
Faye in the chat
sacrifice
says, I think
himself.
Dolls was sidelined
that
so
was the
much.
most
It's a
critical
shame
thing
he
for me,
never
and I
got a
think it
bigger
became more of a
storyline after
challenge on
season
set,
one.
rather, to really
That's
showcase
true.
that
His character
the danger was so
has this
dire,
potential to
there
be
was
so
no
big, and then you're
other
like,
way.
and we're done.
Lost my buddy.
Yeah.
You know, there was like we had like a good buddy cop thing going.
I
on.
also feel like
The
there's
two of
so
us,
much
they were
backstory
two
that we
different
don't
guys,
know.
but they both-
Yes,
Jeremy better
maybe
reveal.
later. I
Shamir
hope
is
so.
an extraordinary
That some people said
performer,
that in
an
chat as well.
extraordinary person, and there's no doubt about it that Hollywood is calling.
Oh,
So-
Faye went on.
Really
Oh,
wants
No, I was just
to
saying,
go
this is
on
the-
and do movies and be a ginormous star. We are a
The
family,
reason
and we
why
certainly
he
felt
left
like
and
we
why
just
they let
couldn't
him go.
hold him back.
Is to
Dream
let
big.
him
That's one thing
move
that
forward.
I think Shamir taught me the most is that you gotta dream big, and if you want to do something.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
what was in the chat?
No, Faye says, I feel like the writers didn't know what to do with him in season 2. Fair enough assessment.
Remembers the little people.
You guys really, really, really are incredible people, and thank you so much for this incredible
Yeah,
opportunity.
point out why his episode response was episode 2 at Comic-Con. Like, why he kept saying that.
Right. Because he doesn't know what happens after episode 2.
Oh, Fitness to Success says, I wonder how much of the pregnancy threw a wrench in telling some of his and other stories in season 2.
This character,
That's a very
That's a
interesting
very
question.
good
yeah,
question.
and, I mean, film lasts forever, so I'm really happy that that part of my life is there. I've done it, and now to the next.
Thank you for showing that video. I think I agree that there's a definite question about the pregnancy derailing storyline. But I definitely feel like they threw in all these little bits of his dragon, the weird line that Jeremy says about the babies in Black Badge, and I wonder how much is going to actually come to light now without him, or if
I
we're
hope we
just
get
gonna-
some backstory.
Yeah, like even though he's gone, I would like answers. Okay, we have before predictions.
Kind of agree with you, which we'll get to it as well. Faye says, back to, I don't see what they're replying to, but felt it was, wish the death was better written. It felt rushed.
Oh.
Are we talking about his death now? More specifically? Yeah. I also felt it was, even though it is a big and noble sacrifice, that was great, somehow it felt a hair underwhelming. I felt more emotion with Wynonna and Waverly after, with the body, essentially.
Interesting. I don't like, this is going to sound weird because I like a lot of TV, but I don't like when it feels like everything's happening so fast in the scene. So like, Hot might fall off the cliff. Wynonna
There's
can't
a
hold
lot
it.
going on. Yes.
Doc is down. Waverly's crying. Like everything's happening, and so I felt like that panic, with his death being the only option, that felt to me right. I was uncomfortable in the scene, and like something has to happen, and then that was what happened, and I felt that was very strong. Although, to be fair, I did go, I don't think it's gonna stick, until I went on Twitter and everyone was like, he's gone.
It's one of those, and then that's true. A lot of people are saying how Wynonna doesn't get a moment with him, Waverly does, even Doc kind of does, and Wynonna is like, peace out.
I think
she doesn't get to say anything really.
But I think that's like part of it. I think that's going
true.
to play
Why
into the
she'd
next
make
episode.
sad. Yeah, yeah.
All right, before we head into predictions, we have some news to tell you all.
Yes.
News.
AfterBuzz TV News.
The biggest news to come out of San Diego Comic-Con, for those who may not have caught the news, is that we have been renewed for a 4th season.
Woo!
Yep. Wynonna Earp is coming back for season 4. That's right. It's set.
Which
it's
is
done,
awesome.
Period.
Like, they just started season 3, and it's like, you got a 4.
Yeah, between episode 1 and 2, they got a 4.
Yes.
So that's the biggest news out of Comic-Con, but also out of Comic-Con, Kari Lane did some interviews.
Yes, thank you so much for many of you who watched it and liked my tweets and commented about it. It was a lot of fun. There's an interview with Melody where she was talking about a line, her favorite line of the season. Gonna have to go watch the video, see what it is. But it was funny because she's like, wait, I have a better one, and wanted to ask Emily. And I was like, yeah, go ahead. And she leaves. And I love how some people commented, like, I wonder how long it was. And Melanie replied back that it was like, that was a long ass time. Yeah, pretty much. And was saying sorry. And it was, but it was super worth it. It was hilarious, and I wouldn't have changed anything. Let me know if you want to see the unedited video. I was debating if I want to just post it as raw.
It's so long.
But yes, there's a lot of really fun interviews with the cast, AfterBuzz, myself, and then Ben Bateman went, and so he interviewed Dominique, and I interviewed the rest of the cast. So check those out on AfterBuzz. It's the red carpets one, so there's another one that you should go check out and subscribe. I tweeted already. I'll retweet it again because now that everybody's watched episode 1, and now if you watched 2, now you've seen 2. And now the interviews will be so different.
Yeah, they mean something else.
You're like, oh. Yeah.
I also was there on the carpet, standing right next to Kari.
Yes.
And all of those interviews are at fanversation.com or youtube.com/fanversation. Not an AfterBuzz channel to subscribe to, but another one. Let's head into predictions.
Yes.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Lights are flashing. Okay, here's what happens in the promo for next week.
Yes.
All right. They're mourning dolls. They have a toast to dolls with some guy. There's some guy in that circle that I went, who's that guy? Also, Waverly to Doc. Should I be more like you, rigid and unfeeling? And he slams a glass against the wall and says, is that enough feeling for you? That's my Doc impression. It's not very good. Jeremy says to Wynonna, I knew what was going to kill dolls. That's what I wrote. I don't know if that's what he said. And
my recording cut off, so I didn't get to see the next time.
Great. And then demons in the bar and Wynonna shooting and drinking. Those are the things that were in the promo. And as a reminder, we're here Sundays at 7.
Sundays at 7. It's going to be our
time.
regular time.
Yes. Any predictions?
Oh, yes. I don't know if we'll get a full Nicole backstory episode, but I feel we need to get Nicole, how she's related to this incident. Yes. I wonder if it'll be her like telling about it or if we get to see it. Because it'd be cool to see it, but or maybe it'd be like tell and then it leads in. Both of those would be fun.
I like this.
I would like to see more unique Revenants like we saw in this one, because it's definitely not over. Or more just weird stuff like the vampires. And I feel there's going to be more with Contessa and Doc, because there's a history there. And watch the interview, because he kind of comments about something. And I was like, maybe we have our mystery contender, which we talked about episode 1 after show.
Yep.
And let's see. I think Wynonna's definitely going to be a bit hung up after Dolls' death, though I think she loves Dolls in her way and Doc in another way as well, but I think it's going to be difficult for her. But I don't know if she's going to take her mom / her own internal advice of being tougher, because relying on your team or not.
Interesting. I feel like Wynonna's going to be spiraling a lot of this first half, right? Like she lost her child. Doc's going through his own thing and won't touch her.
Yeah.
Dolls died. Like I think she's going to spiral.
Yeah.
I think.
Ooh, there's going to be tension with her and Waverly, because it was already at the end of the episode.
Right.
So.
And the tension with Waverly is definitely going to get bigger just because of the mom. Are they going to go see Mama?
I hope so.
Like, is Waverly going to go see her? I don't know.
I think so, but the question is how soon.
Right. I wonder how much Doll's death stuff is gonna last, like the morning of it,
Right.
But also I really hope so. So Jeremy says to Wynonna that he knew that it was gonna happen, and I think that's hopefully she's going to yell at him and go, tell me everything, and then we're gonna get all the answers that I've been waiting for. Yes.
I think it's a hallucination, but Renji says, was Wynonna's mom in the forest a hallucination, or can she astral project? I'm going to go with the hallucination because she says it's from shock. But I like the idea that the mom could do more. But I don't think so.
I don't think so because at the end when her mom was there, Waverly didn't see her.
True.
Like that's because of that. I don't think that she can.
Yeah. No,
things.
I think it's a good point.
I think it's hallucination.
Quick fan name shout out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you everybody for joining us live. And again, no worries if you couldn't join us live. Comment down below your thoughts on the episode. So thank you everybody in the live chat. Call out some names. We got Ariel, Lynn, Sarah, Heather Lamb, Vegan Zombie. That's a fun name. Douglas, Fitness to Success, Renji, ABK88, Millie, Bam Lover, and I want to say it's like Jarly Shots. Sorry, I almost want to pronounce it gnarly, but it might be. I don't know. Maria and Aurora. And if I'm not calling out your name, sorry. I'm just trying to scroll through back. Douglas, thank you everybody who joined us. And if I didn't call your name, sorry. But thank you for joining us and talking with us. It's very fun to hear your thoughts as well.
Yeah, thank you for joining us every week. We will be back again Sundays at 7 p.m. No earlier, probably later. 7 p.m. Let's be honest. But until next week, Kari, why don't you tell people where they can find you and what you're up to?
Yes, you guys can find me online at Kari D Lane. That's KARIDLANE. I'll post again the links for Comic-Con on my Twitter. And so that's Twitter and Instagram. I'm also on, later tonight is Box Office Breakdown. We talk about what movies came out over the weekend, as well as Marvel TV Weekly. So we talk about Marvel stuff in general and Marvel TV. And then on Tuesdays, I do a horror movie news show. So just horror movie news and movies and horror related. So, if you like Wynonna Earp, it's in that vein. And also anime after show, we're talking about My Hero Academia.
Nice. I'm Yael Tygiel. I'm everywhere at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. Right now, Fanversation is doing a Funko Pop giveaway. Check that out. Also, all the interviews with the cast of Wynonna Earp is there. Plus, Law & Order Special Victims Unit. Yes, the greatest show of all time. The after show is Thursdays. We're back this week. Who knows for how long? And we'll see you next week, Sundays at 7.
See ya.
7.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.